Steve Rocco, Rodney Mullen, Mike Chernowski, they were trying to get me on
Plan B.
No, is it a Plan B or World? I'm not really
World,
quite
at that
sure.
time, maybe it was
yeah.
World, probably. Maybe
Yeah.
prior to
Yeah.
Plan B starting. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
So they Rodney and Rocco, they took me out to Corvette Diner, tried to wine and dine me, and then with Tony and Per Willander, my parents cooked food for them, so they came over. So they're trying to win me over here.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's
That's pretty bad. Two different experiences right there.
Yeah. I'm guessing you're 15.
Yeah, 15 years old is before I could drive. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Well, let's rewind.
Please,
too.
no, no,
So
no,
when
no, no.
Also with GNS, and then it turned into Ann.
Yep.
Mike Hill, Chris Carter, they started Ailing Workshop. I was supposed to be part of Ailing Workshop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are people like throwing offers at you like crazy?
Well,
or-
that one I was still amateur, so there was no money being thrown.
Oh,
But
okay.
they wanted me to
Because
be
they
part
had
of.
Yeah.
they had
Yeah.
left early, and then And was kind of going through their times. But
Yeah,
then you had
skateboarding was
turned-
going downhill.
right. But you had
basically,
turned pro for And.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's when you went over to Birdhouse because I heard that Tony Hawk bought all of your GNS boards
Yeah, see,
because
so-
he didn't want to leave GNS with all the stock. And
Yeah.
so he bought the GNS Willy Santos boards, rescreened them as Birdhouse boards.
Yeah, I guess it was actually
That's
his
pretty
graphics.
impressive, bro.
His graphics. So somewhere out there, if people have it, they have a Willy Santos slick board with Tony Hawk graphics on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
rare
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's
Say that again,
definitely
Raj?
pretty-
You had the Titanic graphic?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah. Slick
That's
bottoms
pretty
are, yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You don't have that board. You don't have it.
No, I don't. Yeah. I didn't know it till later. I saw it on the skateboarder mag. Like Tony was talking about me getting on Birdhouse, and I was like, oh shoot, I had no idea that.
I mean, that's kind of behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Tony's a
Yeah.
owner, GNS. He doesn't want Tony's the
That's the man shit right there.
That
That's
is.
some really cool shit. That I don't think no one's
Yeah.
ever done anything like that or be like, hey, I'm willing to buy your old inventory
Yeah.
to kind of take the
I wonder-
relief off, the stress that you're going to
But
go
let's
through
not
of
for-
losing this dude.
But let's not forget also, Tony Hawk isn't rich back then. Like,
Totally.
No, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
took probably a lot for him to buy that stock, and like,
Yeah.
How many boards do you think it was?
I don't know, maybe 200, 300. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. It's a
lot of
Yeah,
money.
at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
a lot
at
of
the time,
money.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So yeah, with Tony starting Birdhouse, obviously I went on Birdhouse, but Rocco and they were offering me like $3,000 and a brand new car. And then Tony was like $1,500 or $1,000, and he gave the car to his wife at the time, to parents. For a cheaper car, I got a Honda Accord, but I was hoping I was going to get Tony's black Honda Civic. I didn't get that.
But Tony ended up giving you a car.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So I chose less money, cheaper car, and I just held. My heart was like, I think it's better if I go with Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
But let's
Yeah,
just
for
let's
sure.
just, let's
Yeah.
break this down. Then. First of all,
That's amazing in itself.
Yeah.
Alien Workshop. They they went over and did that. They offered you to come over there.
Yes.
You eventually just said no. I'm good here.
Well, they
at
sent me a
And.
package, and it didn't. I forget if it actually had Alien Workshop graphics. But I was just like, whoa, they're moving to Ohio, and it just seems like skateboarding was here in California.
Okay.
But everything was probably way cheaper to run that operation
sure.
like that.
So that was
Yeah.
just kind of a no-brainer for you. Like, that seems like in a
Yeah.
different world
Yeah.
to me.
But I'm grateful for Rob Dyrdek, and them like even thinking of me to be part of that.
As they should in that time, because
Yeah.
you went on to be. Listen,
dang.
okay, so let's okay. So then, And is having their issue, and then Tony. Okay, sorry. Let me go back to
Yeah, that's a lot.
no. I love because the Rocco thing. Rocco
Yes.
Rodney. They're taking you to dinner. You're 15 years old. They're offering you $3,000 a month. I mean, you're 15 years
impressive.
old. You're 15 years old,
Yeah.
and a car, right?
Yeah.
Why? What was the deciding factor? Why? Because Rocco and Rodney, like World Industries,
Yeah.
changed
They
the face.
sent me packages too. I
They-
remember riding the Guy Mariano Claudia Schiffer bag.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Legend.
They
Yeah.
changed the face of skateboarding as we know it. Like
Yeah.
they were. What happened there? Why didn't you want to take that ride with them?
I felt like Tony was just more genuine. Like it just felt better. Maybe because Tony was one of my favorite skaters.
Did you already have a relationship with Tony at this point?
No. So when I was writing for GNS Am, he came to School W to skate, and he did a tracker ad, a 5-0 grind down one of the handrails, and I was like, oh shoot, that's Tony Hawk skating street,
Skating a rail.
Yeah. And after he was done skating, I think Steve Sherman shot the photo, his tracker ad, and I started skating, and I didn't really know that he was watching me skate. And so after I was done skating, he came up to me like, hey, if you interested, you want to ride for Powell? And then I was like, oh, I just got on GNS. I didn't tell him right there, but he gave me like a number, but I never called him.
Never called him.
Yeah. I never called him.
I mean, at that age too, it's your favorite skater.
Yeah,
you know that.
I don't know.
fascinating.
Somehow I was just like, I think it'd be lame to quit GNS, even though the best skater in the world is asking to ride.
Oh, there's the photo
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
It's
So
Tony
I'm
Hawk.
somewhere in the background there.
Doing a 5-0 down a, what is that, a 5-stair?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
5-stair rail.
I remember
Yeah.
that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you turned down. Let's also talk about too
Yeah.
at that point in time when World was like first starting off. They already had their teams all set.
Yeah,
like they were like everybody was on there.
Right.
Like Blind 101,
Right,
everything was
you were already
firing.
riding for Blind then, right?
I got on Blind at the late '91. So yeah.
Yeah, Birdhouse started in 91.
91.
Yeah.
So this was around
Or,
that
no,
time.
Birdhouse technically started in 92, but we were skating and filming Feasters in 91.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Then.
If you were,
Yeah.
I mean, what would you? If Rocco, I mean, let's turn back the time, and you could look back on it now and say Birdhouse never existed, and like you went with Rocco.
Yeah.
Would you have a preference of what team you would have skated for, like 101, Blind, Plan B?
Man,
I could have.
yeah,
here's the
I don't
thing:
know.
I could have pictured you on
Menace.
any one of them. Like you would have fit so perfectly well into that fold, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you know any of those guys though?
Yeah, I mean, Day One could come down to those castle contests or NSA contests, so he would call me like whenever you come down to San Diego. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
And Kareem, you know, like
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, you were there too,
Yeah,
right?
and at Encinitas, a couple of times I went to that contest.
Well, this was when it was over in Tirasana.
Never went to that one.
Oh, you didn't?
I don't think I did.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
Anybody listening, castles were the big contests
Yeah.
back
They
out here on
were,
the West
bro.
Coast.
Yeah.
Everybody would go on. And you were, like Jerron was saying, you were a big contest dude.
Yeah,
You
I
were-
remember there was one contest. It was like over 100 participants in the sponsor division, and somehow I was first person, first heat.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But I skated, and it was so much time where my mom and I went to go watch a movie,
In
and then
between.
came back.
Wow.
Came back, and then there was like time
amazing.
to time to announce like the winners, and Guy Mariano got first, and I got second. And Guy, I remember Guy was like trying to give me his trophy. I was like, "Oh, dude, you won!" Like,
That's
all
sick.
good, yeah.
What contest was this?
is it a castle contest
castle.
or the NSA? It was I
Okay.
forget which one. One of
Okay.
those. It all kind of melting pot
Yeah,
like
no
of
doubt,
stuff. Yeah,
no doubt.
Back then we didn't have Instagram to remember to scroll
Nah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out the date. Let me see.
Yeah.
Did your parents have any like suggestions of who you should ride for? Because you said your parents like cooked them food and everything. Did they
You
have?
know, it's weird because I don't really remember having a sit down with my parents after Tony and Pear left.
I couldn't even imagine just
Yeah.
a 15-year-old
Yeah.
kid being like, well, I got this offer over here,
Yeah.
$3,000 a month.
I don't
and then
remember.
over here, there's Tony Hawk. He's the best
Yeah.
skateboarder in the world, and they're offering me $1,500. Like,
Yeah,
how would you? That's
Yeah.
the craziest
And
conversation.
A car. What are
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talking about? And a
Yeah.
car?
Yeah, Honda Accord. Yeah.
So
My parents would
legendary.
be like, what, they deal drugs or something?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here? This is crazy.
I mean, I think they kind of knew like, oh, it's Tony Hawk. Like,
yeah,
they've
no,
heard-
100%. I'm
Yeah.
totally kidding. But still, that's crazy.
I
dude.
can't recall. I don't think any other deals being with a car. And if I do remember, then it's very like faint because I definitely don't
Yeah.
remember. Like,
Well, probably these days. there's
yeah,
more
these
than-
days, even these days, they're
Oh,
not
there.
giving no cars out.
I know, right?
Was it a used car or brand new?
It was a used car.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
but Tony had a Honda Civic, a black Honda Civic, and I was hoping to get that one, but it was a Accord.
It's interesting too in that time. I mean, I know, granted, you were 15 years old, and maybe you didn't know too much about the industry, but it was kind of a risk, man. Like when new companies would come around, like it was kind of a risk. It was a
Yes,
risk for skate
sure.
shops. It was a risk for everybody because they didn't know how long these companies would even be around.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, with Chris Carter starting a workshop in Ohio, I was
Right.
like, oh, shoot. But then, Tony Hawk Like, okay, I can go with Tony.
Yeah, 'cause
Right.
there wasn't any brands that I can recall that were outside of California. There might have been 1 or 2 brands in New York.
Yeah,
but like
not
there
too-
wasn't
yeah.
like that were known. I'm sure
Yes.
there's brands all over, but
Right.
like actually known, like yeah.
Absolutely.
You had to quit. You had to quit, and
Yeah.
right.
Genius and yeah,
was that? But they were already going through some hard times
Yes,
too.
they
right?
were,
So it was
absolutely.
kind of like you had an out there anyway.
Yes,
almost.
yeah, yeah.
So that was made it easier. I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, did
Yeah.
you ever see him in Matt Pales back then?
No, that was after. So I left, and then he was. I think Muska even eventually wrote for
Yep.
Anne, right? If I'm
I
correct.
turned to Maple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Turned to maple.
Damn,
That's
I had
right.
no idea that.
But it was like
Yeah.
separate though, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wait,
I
Ann
didn't
turned
know
into
she-
Maple?
I didn't know that.
Or they left
Left
Anne and then started Maple.
Oh, okay.
Like with was it Taylor Dykman? I forget who it was. Watson. It was with Watson.
Watson.
Yeah. Yeah, Watson Wood. Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're going into this new life with a car and
Yeah.
money. And how much was G&S paying you, by the way?
Oh, I think they were only like got checked like $600 or something.
$600?
Yeah.
Okay.